Hello, my loves. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome into this reading for the full moon in Taurus lunar eclipse. For those who are new, hello and welcome in. It is wonderful to have you here. If you want to learn more about these readings and how to get the most out of them, you can check out the tutorial video I created to catch you up on all of the amazing things that we do in these readings and the best practices I recommend for getting the most out of the information that's coming through and understanding where this information is coming from. Essentially your spiritual support team, but we get more into that in the introduction video. For those who are not new, hello and welcome back. It is lovely to have you here. I appreciate you. I'm honored to show up and serve you in this way as we together navigate the astrological cycles and understand more about our own astrology and to use the spiritual tools of the cards to connect with our support team on the regular, to honor these cycles and to get the most out of them so that we can be the best versions of ourselves. So let's talk first about full moon energy. Full moon energy is the energy of the fullness of a cycle. It's a celebratory energy. So with full moons, we tend to focus on the things that we are celebrating under the theme of the sign that the moon is full in. Now, a full moon is always in the sign that's opposite wherever the sun is right now. So right now, the sun is in the sign of Scorpio, and the opposite of Scorpio in the astrological story is Taurus. Before we get more into the Taurus energies, this is not just a full moon. This is a full moon lunar eclipse. So the energy of this cycle is a little bit different than our typical full moon energies. Typically, a full moon energy vibration cycle information will last us 28 days until the next full moon that we have. However, eclipses are more powerful, more punctuated energies that have longer cycles. They can be from 6 months to a year. So this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus cycle is going to last us a year. And so it's going to take us from when the full moon happens on November 8th all the way to when the next full moon eclipse happens October 28th next year, 2023. So this is a year-long celebration that we are being invited into when it comes to the Taurus themes. Now, the Taurus energy is the second sign of our zodiac story. It's what's called a fixed sign. Fixed signs represent the fullness of a season. So in the Northern Hemisphere, Taurus happens during the season of spring. It represents the fullness of the spring energy and archetype. It has the element of the earth. So earth elements in our zodiac story represents the material world. It represents the physical realm. And so we have with the Taurus energy this beautiful vibration and focus on values, material possessions, the environment, and the earth. So these are the themes that the Taurus archetype and energy brings up and brings into the zodiac story and into our lives to explore on a deeper way. It's a contrasting energy to the Scorpio vibration, which is the season that we're in. The energies that are opposite each other are always going to be in the same, what's called modality. So Scorpio is also a fixed sign, but it represents the fullness of the season of fall. So we have the fullness of spring opposite the fullness of fall, creating this dichotomy and complementary yet opposing energies. Scorpio is the energy of water, whereas Taurus is the energy of earth. So Scorpio is more concerned about the emotional realm, is more concerned about diving deep into the fullness of our emotions, where Taurus energy is really fixed and wants to stay on the material plane in the earth and is concerned with the practical, physical realm. So as we are going to move into this cycle with this lunar eclipse, we are going to be celebrating with the full moon energy this Taurus vibration, so values, when it comes to our own values of who we are, what we value in a practical way in our lives, what we find supportive, and what helps to ground us in this experience of life. We're going to be celebrating that with the Angel Therapy deck by Doreen Virtue. So even if you don't believe in angels, your spiritual support team, whoever they may be, is going to help bring guidance to you through the Angel Therapy deck. You are going to be watching only one reading for this lunar phase. There's a lot going on. If you haven't watched the new moon solar eclipse reading for the new moon in Scorpio, I recommend watching that because that's a whole nother cycle that we're in right now that has very, very powerful energies playing out in our lives, and it's going to help us navigate the things that are coming up in our sphere. But this reading, you are only going to watch for where the moon shows up in your chart. So you're going to look for this symbol right here. And this symbol right here represents the moon. And you're going to look for in your chart what astrological sign this symbol was in. If you don't know how to find that information, I did create a tutorial video to help guide you to that information and to that understanding. It is available and the link that's popping up right now. And you can learn all about the information of your chart, or at least how to understand and read the chart from this tutorial video. So you'll watch the video and the advice for your moon sign for this reading. So if you want to support me, there are many ways to do that. You can comment on this, like this, share this, dialogue with me about this, help me learn what is working for you and resonating for you and what isn't. And you can also share it with people who you think might benefit from this guidance and information and this fun game that we play with the astrological cycles, our own astrology, and the spiritual support tools of the cards. You can also give me a financial donation at paypal.me/devotedvulnerable. And you can sign up for any of my services at devotedandvulnerable.com/services. I do offer chart readings there. I do meditations. You can contact me for a custom guided meditation. I offer tapping services, and I have a chakra meditation service as well. Those are ways that you can support me if you feel called. It is not necessary, but some people want to know how they can reach out and support me, and those are the ways. Also, let me just invite you in to watch Molly McCord's really amazing breakdown of what is going on astrologically the moment this eclipse happens in 16 degrees 1 minute of Taurus at 6:02 in the morning Eastern time on November 8th. If you want to learn more about where the planets are and what that means for you on a personal level, you can go watch her video. I'll link it here so that you can really learn more about the astrology of this particular moment. I watched the video. I thought it was super helpful and supportive, and so I'm going to guide you there if you want to study more and learn more about astrology and learn more about how this phase is going to impact you. So let's get started and find out what we are going to be celebrating when it comes to our values and our finances for this lunar eclipse cycle that is going to take us all the way into October of next year. So this reading is for you if the moon was in Scorpio when you were born. If you're already familiar with the moon in Scorpio energy, you can scroll ahead to the card reading. So moon in Scorpios, welcome in. The moon represents our emotions in our astrological story, and the Scorpio energy and archetype represents how your emotions express themselves. So your emotions express themselves in this Scorpion archetype. So the energy of the Scorpion is this archetype of diving deep into the desert for the smallest drop of water. So the energy of the Scorpio likes to dive deep into the knowing and understanding of the world. It also has another archetype that's very lesser known archetype here, which is the energy of the eagle. the ability, once you've dove in deep into the depths of understanding, once you get that drop of water, the ability to transform and burst out from the sand up into the air and fly around and see things from a higher perspective. So that is another side of the Scorpio energy and archetype. Scorpio is a fixed vibration, is a fixed modality, which represents the fullness of a season. Scorpio in the northern hemisphere represents the fullness of fall. It's an unchanging energy. It's also the element of water, which represents the emotional realm. So Scorpio represents fixed emotions, which is unchanging emotions. Now you see here a big rain cloud on the Scorpio energy and vibration here. And that is because Scorpio is in what's called the fall. And the fall means that the sign is in the opposite of the sign that it's exalted in. I didn't explain that very well. So the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus. And we talked about at the beginning of this video that Taurus and Scorpio are on opposite sides of the spectrum with each other. Both of them are fixed energy, but one is fixed earth and one is fixed water, and they represent the opposite sides of a spectrum. And so because the moon loves to be in Taurus, it's exalted in Taurus, it represents its highest expression and qualities in the Taurus energy. When the moon's in Scorpio, it actually is in what's called the fall. It's its least optimal expression when it comes to an alignment. Now, this does not mean that you're doomed forever and that your emotional world is a difficult world for you to navigate. What it does mean, however, is that there are certain challenges that you experience with the expressions of your emotions through this archetype and this energy that some of the other alignments won't experience. So you may find that your emotional realm is a difficult realm for you to navigate. Now, also keep in mind that your placement in a sign on a planet is just a breadcrumb of the astrological story. And so there are other things that modify your moon energies. There are other things that influence your moon energies, which may or may not express themselves as favorable for you in this expression. So what I'm saying is just be aware that, yes, I'm letting you know that this is an alignment that's technically in its fall, which means it has greater challenges for you to break through. But it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean that it's something that you should get too into your head about. But I like to be informational. I like to provide as much information as I have about something in a way that you can understand. And so I wanted to bring this to your awareness and attention. This is an area of your life that may be more difficult for you. Your emotional realm may be difficult for you. The Scorpio energy and archetype is resourceful, it's passionate, it's magical, it's observant, and it's unyielding, which I think is part of the reasons why this is a difficult placement for the moon, because the moon is always changing, right? And so your emotions are the emotions of not changing. And so there's this conflict, right, of the moon, which changes phases every 28 days, right? Every 2 to 3 days, it's in a new sign. It's constantly changing, but you are emotions that like to stay fixed. And so that's counterintuitive to the moon itself, which likes to continue to change. So I think that that's part of what makes this a more difficult and challenging alignment for you. But again, it does not mean that this is a bad thing. It just means that you should be aware of it. It's something to be aware of and to play with and to maybe explore in a deeper way and on a deeper level. Okay? Let me know if you have questions about that. Let's see what your reading is. If you haven't already, taken a few deep breaths, called in your spiritual support team, and opened your heart to receive the guidance that's most aligned for you at this time, I invite you to do that. Let us see what's coming through here for you with this. Ooh, yeah. Okay. So my beautiful moon in Scorpios, in order for you to celebrate your value systems and to get grounded into this world over the next year, you're going to vacuum away fear. The card says, call upon Archangels Michael and Raphael, aka your spiritual support team, to lift fear-based energies from you, your surroundings, this situation, and everyone involved. Wow. Okay. Very, very important message here. I will reference a meditation that I did to help you vacuum away fear. When this card came up, it came up in the eclipse readings from earlier in the year. So this is a repeat from that eclipse season. But I did do a vacuum away fear meditation, so that might be something that you're called to utilize over and over again for the next year. Definitely also look at the solar eclipse reading, because that was the new moon in Scorpio, which is you, and maybe even reference back to the full moon in Scorpio reading that happened, eclipse that happened, I think it was March of this year, 2022. I'm tapping in, and what I'm really feeling is that there may be a fixed attachment to some fear-based energy in your emotional realm that needs to be like sucked out of you. Like that's like what I'm feeling. Like the vacuum away fear is like literally a vacuum, like, you know, like getting to the dust bunnies underneath the couch and stuff. But there's some fear-based energy that feels like it's gripping onto you, and it needs to be suctioned off, suctioned away. Again, because this is a fixed vibration and you're in a fixed emotional place, you might actually have identified with this fear. This fear might feel like it's a part of you because it's been there so long. It's like almost like I'm kind of like seeing like a leech, like, you know, like stuck on. And like now you're just like, oh, that's just a part of me. That's just Bob, the leech. Sorry to the Bobs out there. I don't know why I got that name. But you're like needing to just, okay? This is the weirdest one that I've done so far. I'm sorry, my beautiful moon in Scorpio. But this is like what's coming through for me. Like just this like needing to suction off this toxic fear-based energy. And it may be something that it's fear-based energy in you, in your surroundings, in your situation, and with everyone involved. So it's fear anywhere in your life, especially places where you've attached to the fear as just something that's present in your surroundings, present in your life, present in the world, in humanity. It's time for you to let go of that, because you can't celebrate being grounded in this life. You can't be grounded in this life if you have this fear keeping you from feeling safe, right? A feeling of being grounded comes from feeling safe and stable, which is again this Taurus energy. And you can't get to that stability if there's fear present in your surroundings and in your environment. Also, you can't celebrate the things that you value and the things that excite you if there's fear attached to them, because it's not true to your core. So this is a beautiful process, beautiful meditation. Use it anytime you need to over the next year, and be very vigilant, be very aware that there is fear in your realm. You may be attached to this fear in a very fixed way, like attached to like it might feel like part of your identity. And it's time to just let that go, release that, and use your support team. Like the card says, Archangels Michael and Raphael are here to help you with this. If you don't work with angels, that's okay. You go to any energies or entities you feel are powerful enough to help lift fear away from you, and or just go to that meditation that I offered, and or use any other practice you have or that comes into your life over the next year to support you in this fear releasing. Like sometimes people can release fear just by going to a sound bath, or taking a salt bath, or doing a yoga practice or a breathing practice. There's a lot of Kundalini yoga that I was doing that was really helping me like release fear. Like it was like a simple one. It was like something like holding the side of your head and then like doing this, like breathing in on one side and then breathing out on the other. But I felt like I could like push the fear like out of my body when I did that. There's many practices that you can do, but definitely find one that resonates with you. Stick with it for this cycle, for this eclipse phase, because that's how you get to this celebration of the things that you truly value, and that's how you get into this grounded place. All right, my beautiful moon in Scorpios, I'm sending you so much love, so much support. Remember, I'm here for you. Remember to reach out if you need support. Let me know how this is resonating with you. And as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste.